Sean is 45 years old and he has $1,875,000 saved. And he's wondering if that's enough to walk away. Lanice is 57. She's a retired school teacher. She has $178,000 in her investments, and she wonders if that is a life sentence. They both applied to my show with the same question: can I retire? By the end of this video, both of them get a stamp on my scoreboard. And one of these verdicts hangs on a number so small you won't believe it. I'm keeping that number till the end. These are real applications from real people, shown with their permission. Real names, real numbers, exactly as they wrote them on the form. Nothing is rounded, nothing is changed. And I judge the math, not the people. Because this question has 2 wrong answers and both of them are expensive. If you guess too high, you're going to donate 5 to 10 or more years to a job you're completely done with, chasing a pile of cash you're never going to spend. If you guess too low and you run out of money at 82, that's a really bad time to try to fix this. Most people never do the math, so they just pick a scary number they heard somewhere and they keep working. Today I'm going to get you the same 2-step math that I run in every application that comes in. I want you to steal it for your own numbers as we go. Let's start with Sean, because on paper it looks like the easy one. But his verdict still comes with a catch that almost nobody warns you about. Judge him by the pile he's accumulated and you're going to wave him out the door today. But a pile with no math behind it proves nothing. And that same instinct sends other people out the door 5 years too early. So run step number 1 with me. Your freedom number is the pile that replaces your paycheck for life. And the math can fit on the napkin. Take what you spend in a year and divide it by 4.7. That's your number. And why 4.7? Well, Bill Bengen, the researcher behind the famous 4% rule, he updated his own work in 2025. And 4.7 a year is his new safe withdrawal rate. Every verdict on this scoreboard runs on his math, with a 7% average growth in today's dollars. Now, Sean spends about $75,000 a year. So $75,000 divided by 4.7% is $1,595,745. That's his freedom number down to the dollar. And he has $1,875,000. So he's crossed that line by $279,000. So the pile says yes, but for Sean, the question is not whether he has enough, it's whether he can reach it. Sean's 45, and $1.8 million of his money sits inside retirement accounts. So if he touches that money in the wrong way before 59.5, the IRS skims 10% penalty off of every withdrawal. That's a 14-year gap between the life he can afford and the money that pays for it. So I call that a bridge problem, and his own application holds most of the answer. He has $75,000 sitting in regular accounts, and he owns 3 properties. He's selling one and turning the profit into a paid-off rental income. Rent checks, they don't care how old you are. And the IRS left a side door called the Rule 72T. So you can lock in a steady scheduled withdrawal from your retirement accounts if you follow the schedule exactly. And that penalty disappears at any age. So he can play his first bridge year forward. The sale pays off the rental, the rent lands every month, the $75,000 in cash sits behind a buffer, and the $1.8 million never gets touched. It can compound for another 14 years while the bridge carries the groceries. So stamp number 1 goes on the board. So Sean is a yes if. Yes, the pile is big enough already today. If he builds that 14-year bridge out of rent and cash in the side door before he resigns. And if your reaction is, Sean is rich and none of this applies to you, hold on, look at this. This is my freedom number calculator, live on my screen. It's free on my site and it runs the exact math I just did on the napkin. Watch it check my work. Sean's numbers go in and there it is. $1,595,745. To the dollar. This is the same math I ran on myself the year before I turned 45. I quit on it 11 years ago, and that's paid for every single month since. So run Lanice's numbers through the internet's math, and you would ruin her life. She needs $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year, and $60,000 divided by 4.7 is $1,276,596. She has $178,000 plus $1,000 a month she's still putting away. At that pace, she wouldn't touch the $1,276,596 until her late 70s. That's the moment a person closes the calculator and tells herself she's going to work until she drops. And for Lanice, that math is dead wrong because Lanice isn't carrying her whole life on her savings. She's a retired teacher, and teachers come with one of the very things this calculator keeps forgetting: a pension. So step 2, before you divide anything by 4.7, subtract every paycheck that arrives whether you work or not. A freedom number exists to replace your paycheck, but a pension is a paycheck. The guaranteed checks already did part of the job. Your savings only has to cover what's left. You don't run your whole life through that math, you run the gap. So watch what that does to her. She needs $5,000 a month, and her teacher's pension pays $2,800 a month for life. And it gets even better. That same pension mails her a cost of living check every December. This year's check was $9,800. Spread that across 12 months, and that's another $816 a month. So she teaches in a state now where a second smaller pension turns on at age 60. Her own estimate is between $700 and $800 a month. So I'm going to run it at $750. And if we add all those checks up over a year, they're going to cover $52,400 of the $60,000 she needs. So the gap, the only part of her savings that she ever has to carry, is $7,600 a year, or about $633 a month, which is a car payment, not a life. Now run step 1 on the gap. 7,600 divided by 4.7. Now I checked this several times. Time is on her side. And she isn't asking to quit today. She's asking about age 60. And that means 3 more years of the $1,000 a month and 3 more years of growth on $178,000. At 7%, she walks into her last day of school with about $258,000 behind her. 2 honest footnotes before I stamp her, because I grade the math, not hope. Those pension quotes are hers to confirm in writing before she resigns, and retiring at 60 means buying her own health insurance for 5 years until Medicare. I made an entire video on doing that without going broke, and it's linked below. Now for the mistake, and this isn't Sean's and it isn't Lanice's, it's the one the world handed both of them. Both of these application arrived already graded against a stranger's number. He had $1,875,000 and still wondering if he can retire because some guy online swears you need $3 million. And she had $178,000, and that might have felt hopeless because the magazine cover said, oh, you need $1 million to retire with. But a pile with no math on it can only scare you. I want you to grade your own investment amount and not think you have to have some crazy amount because somebody on the internet said you did. Let's look at Lanice's real freedom number. So the savings that covers up her $7,600 a year gap for the rest of her life is $161,702. Not $200,000 and not some round number off of the magazine cover. $161,702. She has $178 and she's already passed that line. And her pension comes at the bottom of her own estimate. So her number climbs to $174,468, and that's still under what's in her accounts today. The teacher that everyone counted out has been ready this whole time. Nobody had run the math. Her stamp is a yes at 60. She teaches 3 more years while her pension comes online, and she walks out of the classroom with a bigger cushion than she ever thought she had. Look at the finished scoreboard. 1,875,000 got a yes if, and 178,000 got a yes. The pile was never the verdict. If you sat through this video running your own numbers in your head, make it official. My application takes 2 minutes. First name, age, 5 numbers, and a consent box that says I can put your real name and math on this scoreboard, just like Sean and Lanice did. The link is in the description. My next episode gets built from these applications. The next stamp might be yours.